You're listening to Reputation Anti-Stress Podcast, created by Serhiy Bitenko. How to act before, during, and after reputational crisis.
Imagine this. You're right in the thick of it. A real crisis situation. Phones are going crazy, the pressure's on, and everyone wants answers from you.
Yeah, the spotlight's on.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. You don't actually have all the facts yet. So what do? Your gut might scream, wait till I know everything.
Or maybe project this air of total confidence, even if you're, scrambling inside.
Right. But what if, and this is the interesting part, what if doing the opposite is actually better, more powerful?
It's a fascinating question because, like you said, it's not just theoretical. This happens all the time, these intense communication challenges, whether it's a company issue or, a public emergency.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're basing this deep dive on a really, really insightful piece by Philippe Borremans, who's in the Wag The Dog newsletter.
Ah, yes, from RiskCom's FCCO. Good stuff.
Yeah, and the article, Communicating Risks, The Power of Admitting Uncertainty, it really makes you rethink how you approach crisis comms.
It really does. We're going to unpack this idea that openly saying, look, we don't know everything yet, can somehow build more trust than pretending you've got it all figured out.
It feels wrong, almost, but it seems to have huge implications for anyone needing to talk sense when things are still, messy and unclear.
Absolutely. Facts emerging, ground shifting. That's the reality.
So our mission here is to give you a kind of roadmap. We'll look at the frameworks, the strategies that actually make this work so you can handle those really tough moments with integrity and get your message across effectively.
Okay, so let's set the scene first. The reality of communicating when everything's hitting the fan. That alarm goes off, maybe the media's already calling.
Oh, yeah, or worse.
And you have this sinking feeling because you know something's up, but the full picture, it's just fuzzy.
Yeah.
Incomplete.
And what struck me from Borman's piece is that this isn't like a freak occurrence. This is the normal starting point for most emergencies. You almost never have all the verified facts before you urgently need to say something.
Precisely. So the real challenge isn't if you'll face that uncertainty wall, it's how well you manage to communicate through it.
You can't dodge the unknown, basically.
Nope. But you can choose how you frame it, how you present it.
Okay, now this next bit, this really flipped my thinking. Borremans talks about a transparency paradox.
Yeah.
How on earth does admitting you don't know build credibility? My instinct is always, project strength, certainty, especially then.
It's funny, isn't it? But think about it. Trying to fake certainty when things are clearly uncertain, that just smells fishy to people. It actually destroys trust over time.
Yeah.
And it's not just a theory. Even official bodies like the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they actually recommend this. Their advice often sounds something like, look, this situation is evolving. We don't have all the answers right now, but as soon as we do, we'll tell you.
Huh. So it's like an established best practice.
It is, because it manages people's expectations realistically.
Yeah.
It shows you're not going to, pull the wool over their eyes. It builds faith for the long haul.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I can definitely think of times I've trusted a leader more when they said, okay, we're still figuring this part out, instead of someone giving a slick answer that later fell apart.
Exactly. It's that authenticity. Your audience, whoever they are, they kick up on that. Being transparent signals respect. It builds a real connection.
Like with COVID-19, those early days.
Perfect example. The authorities who said up front, look, the science is evolving, guidelines might change. They generally kept public trust better, even when things did change.
Whereas those who promised absolute certainty, they couldn't back up.
They faced a massive credibility hit later, and rebuilding that trust, it's incredibly hard. Once it's gone, it's really gone.
Okay, so just saying, we don't know, and leaving it there isn't the answer either, right? There has to be structure. This is where Borremans brings in that 3-pillar model. Sounds useful.
It's very practical. Pillar 1 is basically, here's what we know for sure. Stick to the verified facts, the stuff that's absolutely solid.
So like in a data breach scenario.
Right. You'd say, we discovered the incident at this time. These specific systems were affected. We immediately took these steps to contain it. Concrete, verifiable stuff. It gives a baseline.
Okay, grounds the whole thing. Then pillar 2 is, we do not know this.
Exactly. Be explicit about the gaps. Think about what people are probably asking, worrying about, and address it directly. Say, we're still working to determine the full extent of the data compromised, or we haven't yet identified who did this.
So you're drawing clear lines around the known and the unknown, being honest about the limits.
Yes. And then the crucial part, pillar 3. Here's what we're doing to find out more. This is all about action. You explain the process.
What you're actually doing.
Right. We've launched a forensic investigation. We've brought in external experts. We expect to provide another update by this time. Show you're actively working on filling those gaps.
That whole structure,
Yeah.
it feels really solid. It manages expectations, like you said. It keeps credibility because you're being transparent. And maybe crucially, it shows you're on the case, you're working towards answers.
It builds confidence through honest action, not just empty words or, worse, false promises.
And the words themselves matter too, right? The language of uncertainty.
Oh, hugely. How you phrase things makes a massive difference to how people perceive it, how they react. Some research even suggests that verbal uncertainty.
Like using words like maybe or could.
Yeah, exactly. Those vague words can actually hit your credibility harder than using, say, numerical uncertainty, like giving a range.
Ah, okay. So instead of saying, we might get operations back online soon.
It's much better, much more confident sounding to say something like, we expect to restore operations within the next 24 to 48 hours. Even if it's an estimate, it's concrete.
Or for that data breach, not just, this could affect customers.
But something more specific, like, we're investigating the potential impact on approximately 10,000 customer records. It gives a sense of scale, shows you're quantifying things, even while acknowledging uncertainty.
And that point about positive phrasing from nuclear safety, that was interesting. Drink only bottled water works better than don't drink tap water.
Yeah, it focuses on the protective action, what people can do to stay safe. Rather than just the restriction or the danger, it feels more empowering, less alarming.
So the core idea is give better answers, not necessarily more answers right away. Answers that are clear, give people something to do, and are honest about what's still unknown.
Precisely. It's about quality over premature quantity.
But just acknowledging the uncertainty, even clearly, isn't quite enough, is it? People need guidance, especially in a crisis. They need to know what to do.
Absolutely. That's a critical next step. You have to provide actionable advice, even with incomplete info. People need something concrete to regain a bit of control when things feel chaotic.
I remember the 2008 financial crisis. Some institutions just said things are uncertain and left it there.
Right, and that just left people feeling completely helpless, adrift. The communicators who did better were those who offered phased responses, suggested alternative actions people could take, kept the lines of communication open. Giving people agency, even small steps, is vital.
So, for example, a manufacturer with a supply chain problem, they can't just say, we don't know when parts will arrive.
No way. They need to give phased guidance. Okay, for current orders, here's what we're doing now. For next month's deliveries, we're exploring these alternatives. If this lasts longer, here's our contingency plan. That gives their partners something practical to work with.
And speed is crucial too, right? Getting something out quickly.
Paramount. Communicating early, even if you don't know much, builds trust and, importantly, it stops the rumor mill from going into overdrive. It lets you shape the narrative, at least initially.
It prevents that vacuum where misinformation just rushes in.
Exactly. The World Health Organization is really strong on this. They basically say lack of information is never a good reason to delay announcing a potential problem, like an outbreak.
That's a bold stance, that first hour, the so-called golden hour of a crisis.
It often sets the tone for everything that follows. A quick, honest initial statement, even if it's just acknowledging the situation and promising more info, is far better than silence while you wait for perfect clarity.
Which might never come, or come too late.
Precisely. This is why having prepared holding statements is so vital.
Templates, basically.
Yeah, templates for common scenarios. If you have those ready before a crisis hits, you can get a consistent, approved message out fast. It buys you breathing room while you gather more facts.
You can really see the difference when you look back at past events. Hurricane Katrina often comes up as, well, an example of what not to do.
Oh, absolutely. A tragic example of poor uncertainty communication. You had conflicting advice, unclear instructions, agencies saying different things.
Just total confusion when people needed clarity most. It wasn't just that information was lacking, it was that the communication about the lack of information was chaotic. It completely eroded trust.
And you contrast that with something like, say, the 2001 anthrax attacks. Organizations that already had strong networks and clear communication plans in place fared much better.
How so?
They were better able to acknowledge both the technical stuff they didn't know, like the exact nature of the threats, and the social uncertainties, like how agencies were coordinating. But they did it consistently, honestly. They maintained public confidence much more effectively, despite the fear.
That difference really drives home the need to prepare. Building this uncertainty toolkit beforehand seems non-negotiable.
It really is. You need those communication guidelines ready for different types of emergencies. You need approval processes figured out in advance so you can release info quickly. You need relationships built with community partners who can help spread accurate messages.
And training the people who will actually be speaking.
Definitely. Spokesperson training specifically on handling uncertainty is key. How to explain complex things simply, how to stay credible while saying, I don't know, how to keep messages aligned across different channels. It's a real skill.
Those message templates you mentioned sound like lifesavers too.
They are. Having adaptable templates for that first alert, for confirming uncertainties, for announcing service disruptions, for recovery updates. It just streamlines everything when time is critical. You're not starting from a blank page under immense pressure.
And looking beyond the immediate crisis, this approach, it's about building trust for the long haul, isn't it?
Absolutely. When you're transparent during the tough times, you build up this reservoir of goodwill. People learn to expect honesty from you.
So maybe they're more resilient to rumors next time, or more forgiving if things don't go perfectly.
Exactly, because they trust your fundamental approach. It shifts the whole dynamic. It's not you versus your stakeholders. It's we're navigating this together.
But it means you have to keep learning, keep listening.
Continuous improvement is essential. You need to monitor. Are people understanding the messages? Are they following the advice? What's the trust level like? Is misinformation spreading? Use that feedback to constantly tune your approach.
So really, this whole idea, communicating uncertainty, isn't a weakness to be hidden.
Not at all. It's actually an opportunity to be transparent, to genuinely build trust, and to bring your community or stakeholders along as active partners, not just people you talk at. It turns a communication hurdle into a bridge.
So the big takeaway here, when you're facing the unknown, resist that powerful urge to wait for perfect clarity, or worse, to bluff.
Make the uncertainty itself transparent.
Clearly say what you know, what you don't know, and crucially, what you're actively doing to find out more. That's how you turn uncertainty from an obstacle into, well, a way to build stronger, more trusting relationships.
That's it right there. Be honest, be proactive, keep talking.
So something to think about next time you see a situation unfolding where the facts aren't all clear. How might applying these ideas have changed how you saw the communicators involved? Or maybe even changed the outcome itself? Pause 2 seconds.
You've listened to the Reputation Anti-Stress podcast. My name is Serhiy Bidenko. I'm the Crisis and Reputational Advisor. I help top managers and business owners, members of supervisory boards, find and apply the best solutions to overcome reputational crisis.